make tremendous amounts of cocaine, and they send it all over the world, and they destroy families. No, Colombia is out of control, and now they have the worst president they've ever had. He's a lunatic who's got a lot of problems, mental problems.
This is the Dollemore Daily. I'm Garrison Hayes, filling in, guest hosting for my good friend, Jesse. So for the last few months, the U.S. has been carrying out multiple lethal strikes on smaller boats, smaller vessels in the Caribbean. These vessels, they say, have been running drugs, and they're linking them to Colombia's National Liberation Army and other drug-running operations. Now, the death toll, the estimates of the death toll is somewhere between 20 and 40, depending upon where you get your news. But more than anything, Colombia's president has had enough. Not only has the Trump administration been a bit clammy, they've released scarce, virtually no public evidence of their claim that these boats were bringing drugs to the United States. There's also a lot of doubt about whether or not carrying out these kinds of attacks, these kinds of military airstrikes in international waters. There's a ton of doubt about whether or not this is even legal. Alvin Halsey, the 4-star Navy admiral overseeing the military's strikes against boats in this particular region in the Caribbean, abruptly retired last week in what was seen by many people as a huge red flag, as an indicator that something is awry here. So what happened is my question to the peaceful, no new wars president. Under almost any other conditions, this would be considered an act of war. If a U.S. citizen were to hop on a boat and they were to be carrying, let's say the claims are true, they were actually carrying drugs from the United States to Haiti or to the Bahamas, and the Bahamas carried out, or Haiti carried out, an airstrike that killed U.S. citizens, even if they were doing something quote unquote wrong, we'd have an issue with that, I think. I think there is blood on the hands of the folks calling in these airstrikes. There is a kind of bloodthirstiness, in fact, a love for militarism, for strikes and bombs and demonstrations of force and military parades. They really are into that in this second term of the Trump administration, and it is very concerning. The kind of constant discourse about utilizing the military against our foreign adversaries, but also against people here at home, raises some very serious concerns for me, and I think for others. Even folks in Trump's own party are questioning the legality of these strikes. Senator Rand Paul, of all people, a close ally of President Trump, was asked on Meet the Press if he thought these strikes were legal. And he said no. I want you to watch this clip.
Venezuela, obviously, you've been very focused on this. President Trump has authorized military strikes against suspected drug boats in the Caribbean. As you know, so far, more than 20 people, Senator, have been killed in 6 different strikes. Do you believe that these strikes against these suspected drug boats are legal?
No, they go against all of our tradition. You know, when you kill someone, you should know, if you're not at war, not in a declared war, you really need to know someone's name, at least. You have to accuse them of something. You have to present evidence. So all of these people have been blown up without us knowing their name, without any evidence of a crime. And for decades, if not centuries, when you stop people at sea in international waters or in your own waters, you announce that you're going to board the ship and you're looking for contraband, smuggling, or drugs. This happens every day off of Miami, but we know from Coast Guard statistics that about 25% of the time the Coast Guard boards a ship, there are no drugs.
I want you to take in what he just said there. First and foremost, he's saying that usually when we carry out strikes on our enemies, we typically know the crime that they are alleged to have committed, and we know their names. And what Senator Rand Paul is saying is that in this case, we don't have any of that information. We don't know what crime they are alleged to have committed. And then on top of that, the likelihood that these people may or may not be innocent is actually relatively high, higher than it should be if you're going to be carrying out lethal force, lethal airstrikes on these individuals. This is unbelievable. He's saying this is a crime. When asked if this was legal, he literally opened his remarks by saying, no, it's not legal. Keep watching.
So if our policy now is to blow up every ship we suspect or accuse of drug running, that would be a bizarre world in which 25% of the people might be innocent.
25% of the people might be innocent. This is important because, as I'll show you in just a few moments, the United States government is being accused of killing innocent people.
The other thing about these speedboats is they're 2,000 miles away from us. If they have drugs, they're probably peddling drugs to one of the islands of Trinidad or Tobago off of Venezuela. The idea that they're coming here is like, it's a huge assumption.
It's a huge, I mean, I hate to just repeat what he's saying, but I do want to, I'm trying to highlight the fact that this is actually a bomb. This should be a bombshell revelation. This should actually concern so many people. This is what could easily be the thing that lands Trump or Pete Hegseth in front of the International Criminal Court. What they're doing here in the Caribbean is astonishing.
And really, shouldn't you have to present some proof? It is the difference between war and peace. In war, though, you don't ask people's name. But if they want all-out war where we kill anybody and everybody that is in the country of Venezuela or coming out, that has to have a declaration of war. It's something that is not pretty, very expensive, and I'm not in favor of declaring war on Venezuela, but the Congress should vote. The president shouldn't do this by himself.
Congress should vote. The president shouldn't do this by himself. But I'm wondering if Rand Paul, though he just gave forceful remarks, I believe, on Meet the Press, something that he should absolutely be given credit for. I'm wondering if he and other Republicans in Congress are willing to hold the president accountable for his actions. Now, to make matters worse, Colombia's president accused the U.S. of murder and violation of sovereignty laws, saying that at least one of the people killed by the U.S. was a civilian from Colombia, lifelong fisherman, fishing in a boat that was in Colombian waters. Same is being said of a fisherman from Trinidad. Now, instead of responding to the substance of the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, instead of responding to his claims, Trump chose to attack him personally. It's what he does. When he doesn't have any other response, he attacks people personally. He actually posted this to Truth Social, and I want to show you. I want to read it to you. Okay, and so again, instead of responding to the substance of what Colombia's president claims against the United States, President Donald J. Trump opens up his post here on Truth Social by calling President Gustavo Petro of Colombia an illegal drug leader, strongly encouraging the massive production of drugs in big and small fields all over Colombia. He goes on to say that any and all aid to Colombia would be cut off. When asked about the Colombian president's accusations, President Trump doubled down on the personal attacks without addressing, again, the substance of the accusation. I don't know why I expect so much of our president, but I expect for if there is a substantive accusation being made, that you will respond substantively to said accusation. Instead, he did this. Watch this clip.
Against drugs. And in fact, even when they had better presidents than they have right now, that's how they're making a lot of money, drugs. I used to complain about it when they had a very nice president, but he wasn't doing it. It was all talk. They are a drug manufacturing machine, Colombia, and we're not going to be part of it. So we're going to drop all money that we're giving to them. It has nothing to do with them stopping drug production. And you look at the fields are loaded up with drugs, and they refine the drugs, and they make tremendous amounts of cocaine. and they send it all over the world and they destroy families. No, Colombia is out of control, and now they have the worst president they've ever had. He's a lunatic who's got a lot of problems, mental problems.
A lunatic with a lot of problems, mental problems. Well, there you have it. I actually have no comment on whether or not Colombia is producing drugs, cocaine, whatever. I don't know. I just don't know. What I do know is what the United States is doing, and we need to answer for that. I'm going to call it there. Tell me what you think down in the comments. Is this an issue? Is this a big deal? I'm paying close attention to it. I hope you are as well. My name is Garrison Hayes. I'm guest hosting here for Jesse Dollemore here at the Dollemore Daily. You can find a link to my channel down in the comments below in the description. Before you get there, you'll run into the subscribe button. Click that if you aren't already subscribed to this channel. Click that like button. It really does make a difference. And of course, come over and subscribe to my channel as well. I'm getting close to a big milestone here, so I could really use your help to achieve it. As always, I'm grateful that you are here and watching. If you want to keep up with what Jesse is doing on other platforms, you can find him on all social media platforms at Dollemore, and you can find links to my social media platforms at the link in my channel. So come check me out. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.